as well. So I decided that starting today, I will record the video in front of the camera, but I will include a version that it will have the same audio, but with visuals of the beach, or some kind of nature kind of thing. So for those of you who enjoy that, you will have the same video in that format, and that way you can pick whatever you want. It will not be available as a video for you to watch because I don't want people to get confused on my channel. It will be an unlisted video, so if you don't want to watch this one where I'm talking to the camera, but you rather watch this video in a nature background or for visuals, then I'll have that video. It will be on the top of the screen. You can go and click on it, and that card will take you straight to the video. If you can't find the card or something happens, there will be a link again to this exact same video with the visuals of nature in the comments down below and in the description box down below. Now, I hope that way that everyone gets a little bit of everything. I am trying something different. A lot of people said that there was a lot of light in some of my videos, so I'm trying to close all the blinds and use the light from the camera. I don't know how it's going to work. It's probably going to be grainy because it's going to have to put up a lot more light that it's actually not in the room, but I guess I'm just experimenting and see what I can do with what I have. So today's video, it's going to be about Rebecca Zahau, or Zahau. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. She is from the northwest of Burma. So of course, the last names and some of the first names that I will mention here in this video, I am probably going to butcher them. However, this was a very requested video. This is technically an unsolved mystery because they don't have somebody in jail for what happened in this case, but regardless, it's a very, very sad story, and I thought that I would share with you all the research that I've done on it. Now, as I mentioned before, her name is Rebecca Zahau, and she is from Falam, which is somewhere in the northwest part of Burma. Her father's name is Quan Nin, and her mother is Zhang Tin. She moved previously from Burma to Nepal and Germany. There is a lot of information out there that said that they had to leave their country to move to the States, but according to my research, they moved before to Germany and Nepal, or maybe they lived there briefly before moving to the States. Now, when they moved as a family to the United States, most of the family stayed in the St. Joseph, Missouri area, and of course, she moved 10 years before the tragedy that took her life, but in 2002 she married this guy. He was a nursing student. He was 36 years old, and his name is Neil Nalepa, which, by the way, sometimes you can find her story and people refer to her as Rebecca Nalepa instead of Zhao. Now, she married him, but they got divorced in February of 2011. She then moved to California and she started working as an ophthalmologist assistant. She there met a guy that it was almost like, love at first sight, if you can call it that. But they got very interested in each other. So they started dating and seeing each other almost immediately. Jonah is the guy that frequently this plays in, she started a relationship with. He is the founder and the CEO of a pharmaceutical company that is not only very successful, but he is very well known. He first wife, I think he had 2 kids, and with the second wife, which her name is Dina, she had her third child, and his name was Max. Max was the one that apparently was the kid that visited him the most, or at least the one that is talked more about in this story the most. Max and Rebecca, I mean, the relationship with Jonah and Rebecca was very, very serious, and Rebecca got to know Max very well, to the point that Max's mom, Dina, was a little bit jealous of the relationship that they had. Sometimes doing silly things and some kind of a jealousy thing, that she would try to not let her see him that much, just because of the great relationship that Rebecca had with Max. I can kind of understand that, but it's almost a little bit childish as well. If you divorce somebody, you know, and they get into a new relationship, I think, in my opinion, it would be better to be in good terms with the other person. But I'm not saying that they weren't in good terms. I'm just saying that Tina had that kind of competition for the love of Max. And again, Max could have had a lot of fun with Rebecca, but I think that as a mother, I mean, you have a very tough job. You know, you're the one that wakes him up to go to school, and even if you're not the funnest person to be around, because again, you are the mom, you know, it's like, you know, if you love your kids, they will love you back, and it's kind of an instinct. So I do not understand why it was that rivalry for Max's love, but that was something that was said, and that is something that popped up in every single article that I read about this story. Now, Rebecca and Jonah lived at Jonah's mansion, and the mansion had a name. The name is the Spreckels Mansion, and this is in Coronado, California, which is an island off San Diego, again connected by a bridge to the San Diego area. Now, this island, it's kind of an exclusive place for people with a lot of money. I think that the cheapest house there, it's almost $1.5 million. So it's for people that have a lot of money. In this particular mansion, I think it had, or it has 27 rooms, bedrooms. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I thought I should mention it. Sometimes you hear mansions and stuff like that, and then you're wondering, you know, it's a big house. Well, this one, it was pretty big, and it also had a guest house, so if you didn't want to stay in the main house, you could stay in the guest house. Okay, it's a long story, but you know why I mentioned this at the beginning. Now, on June 11th, Max was at his dad's house, and his dad wasn't home. He was staying with Rebecca and her sister, her younger sister. Her younger sister was visiting, actually, Rebecca, so she happened to be at the house, but Rebecca was in charge of Max. Now, all of a sudden, Max falls from the stairs balcony. I mean, there's the little rest area, and he fell from the second floor, so you have an idea. It was a pretty bad fall and very, very high. Of course, this is a mansion. Of course, it has this big, beautiful stairs, but he fell from the second floor all the way down. Now, we know that he fell, or we know that he ended up at the bottom, but we don't know what actually happened because Rebecca wasn't there at the time. She was in another part of the house, and her sister was in another part of the house. Now, when they heard the commotion and, you know, the loud noise, and probably he was crying or screaming as he was falling, they go to where Max was, and immediately Rebecca asked her sister to call 911. While she was calling 911, Rebecca was giving CPR to Max, so she didn't ask her sister because she didn't want to call. That is something that some people say, but it was actually because she was giving CPR to Max in order to try to help him while the ambulance got there. They took Max to the children's hospital in the area, and they treated him the best that they could. because of his injuries were really, really bad, and they were trying to get a little bit of time to see what they could do for him. At this point, the police is investigating this accident, but they think that he either tripped over a ball or he tripped over the dog and fell. That is initially, because this is something that it's going to change. Another thing that I heard about this is that one of the last things that Max said to Rebecca, after he fell, is Ocean, and Ocean was the name of the dog. So again, that information with what the initial investigation revealed, almost like he tripped over the dog. Now, while Max was at the hospital, a lot of families started coming to visit, and of course they knew that he was in very critical condition, so some people just wanted to go visit him to give, their final goodbyes, or say their final goodbyes to Max. One of those was Jonah's brother, and his name was Adam. Now, on July 13, 2011, Adam was spending the night at Jonah's and Rebecca's house. Apparently, Max's mother, her sister, and Jonah himself, they were staying 24 hours in the hospital, which makes sense. But Rebecca did go back to the house. She actually went and dropped off her sister in at the airport and picked up Jonah's brother, Adam. Now, that night, they went to the house, to the mansion, and Rebecca stayed, and of course was going to stay in her room, but he decided to stay at the guest house. Now, when he wakes up the next morning, he finds Rebecca's body hanging from the top floor by a red rope. He calls immediately 911, but it's interesting to note that at the beginning of the 911 call, he's like, hello, and my goodness, you have to listen to that 911 call to understand that he started that conversation. It was almost like he was calling somebody that he knew, and it wasn't a big deal. It's like, okay, I'm just calling to report a dead deer on the side of the road. I don't know, that kind of thing. And maybe not even that, because I think that you'd feel a little bit bad about the deer on the side of the road too. But this guy, he called, and the first 3 words he said, he sounded very, very calm. But then all of a sudden he became a little bit agitated, and he seemed scared, and he actually told the 911 dispatcher that he found this girl. He said he said like this, I found this girl and she hung herself. Now, that girl picked him up from the airport and has been dating the brother for some time now. So I don't understand why he would say a girl. It's not like, okay, any girl just got in the house and just hang herself or anything like that. But the 911 dispatcher asked him, is she alive, or can you feel and see if she's alive? So at that time, he puts the phone down and he decides to go and check on her. So he will pull her down, he will cut the rope, pull her down, and try to see if he found any pulse, or if she was breathing at all. Now he comes back to the line and asks the 911 operator, are you sending somebody here? And she keeps saying, well, I can't send anybody there if you don't give me the address. Apparently the guy didn't know the address of his brother. So when she asked the first time, which is something that I forgot to mention, he said, I don't know. Then he proceeded to say, well, where you picked up the kid that fell from the stairs the other day, and that kind of thing. We're like, okay, this is a dispatcher and a 911, but it doesn't mean that I'm the one that picked up every single call that was done from that area. You know what I mean? So he finally comes back. He asks, is the help coming? And she said, no, it's not, because I don't know your address. He finally tells her it's 1043 Ocean Boulevard, and he immediately gets transferred to the fire department. I don't know protocol or anything like that, but he gets transferred to a new lady that basically asked questions and he answered them the same way. Now, again, he told her that he didn't feel any pulse or anything, and that she had her hands tied, so he had to cut the rope in order, or remove the knots, whatever, to untie her to try to feel the pulse. So he did pull her down and kind of messed up everything, but it makes sense. Maybe she was alive and he was helping her, so that's something that it's not as unusual. While this was happening, Jonah was at the hospital. Remember that most of them were at the hospital, including the mom and the closest family members, because they knew that he was really, really bad. And apparently he was sleeping. Jonah was sleeping across the street in a Ronald McDonald Roadhouse or something like that. Now let's go back to what happened. Okay, so Adam calls him and tells him, your girlfriend just took her life. She hanged herself in the house. Which, by the way, I felt so bad for that guy. I mean, you're not only losing your child in a very freak accident, which, by the way, it's not uncommon. It's something that happens. It's not something that it's shown on the news, but it's very, very common to, sadly, for a kid to have a very bad accident, even in their own home. So Jonah was going through this while Adam was back dealing with the police and stuff like that. Now, when the police arrived there were quite a few things that look a little bit weird. Number one, Rebecca's hands and feet were tied in the back, and she was gagged with a blue long-sleeve t-shirt that was wrapped around her head with the sleeves. It was double knotted and then stuffed in her mouth, and there was also tape residue in her legs. It's kind of looking a little bit more of a foul play, in my opinion, at this point, than a suicide. Now, because of all this, it made the police wonder if something different could have happened. When they explained the knot in the beginning, they said that the knots that she had in her hands wasn't very, very tight, so they thought that she did it to herself. But it's kind of interesting to think that you're going to take your own life. And again, something that it's very, very shocking is that she was also naked. So you're naked, you tie your hands, you tie your legs, you gag yourself, and then you hang yourself from the balcony of a guest room. So it's not even your room, which in my head, it doesn't really make sense. It almost feels like she was interrupted. Maybe she was changing into her clothes to go to sleep. Maybe she was taking a shower. Maybe she was doing something that she had to remove her clothes to do that, and she was maybe surprised. Maybe she heard a noise. Why would she be on a guest room when she has her own room in the mansion? So a lot of those things I'm sure the police wonder at the time, but the police did find a few things upon the first investigation. They found her footprints and a man's boot footprint in the balcony where she was either thrown from, if this was in fact that somebody killed her, or where she killed herself. They also found 2 knives on the ground in that room where she was at. They found on a shelf in her room a book that the name is Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft, and in there was a page with a ritual that shows a naked woman. And this is a drawing, it's not actually a picture itself, but it was a drawing of a naked woman with her hands and her feet tied to the back and a red robe around her neck, which led people to believe, or the police to believe at the time, that maybe this was some kind of ritual or something. They also found a message painted in the back of the door of that guest room that said, "She saved him, you can save her." That came that night, but again, he couldn't confirm that it was Dina, somebody that looked like Dina. So the police started investigating Dina when she did, it wouldn't agree with the timeline where everything happened that night, so she was on the clear. Now, they went back to Adam, which was the guy that was there at the mansion, and he said that he was okay to do a polygraph, so they did. They showed that in a clip while they were doing the polygraph, and the question that they asked him in specific, like if he knew who did it or if he was involved in that. But apparently the results were inconclusive, which means that it's not like he lied or he told the truth. It's just something in the middle, which, by the way, will never be admitted in court because it's not a proved science or sometimes people get accused of horrible things because of this, and not necessarily means that they were involved. It's just something that they use to get an idea, but not 100% true. So they understood that it was inconclusive, and maybe that the guy was having a horrible time after everything that he saw and he had to do to help his sister-in-law. When they asked the family, they said that Adam would be incapable of doing that to her or anybody. He was a very well-liked guy, and again, not something that the family or friends thought that he could do to somebody. However, one of the things that was very interesting is that Adam worked with boats. Apparently, he was a captain of a boat, and he probably did know how to tie the knots that she had on her back. However, the police at first thought that the knot was very, very usual, and then at the end we'll find out that it was very not so easy to achieve, and this is when an expert looked into it and tried to different people to come up with the same knot. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. However, a few days later, Max died. So why would she kill herself? You're probably wondering. Well, a lot of people, including the police, believe at the time that she felt very guilty for what happened to Max, even though he didn't die before her, she died before him. So, that could have been it, but we'll have the statements of the family later on, and that will clarify a little bit more that theory. Now, on September 2nd, this is 7 weeks after Rebecca and Max died, the police got a press conference. Well, they were going to reveal, their final findings, I guess, on both of the deaths investigations. Number one, no foul play was on either case. Max fell and Rebecca took her life 3 days later. That's pretty much all the conclusion that they came out with. They looked for evidence. They explained that they looked through every piece of evidence that they could find, and that what happened to them was something really sad, but nothing that involved some kind of criminal activity. Now, they also said on that press conference that they chose to ignore the claims of the neighbors seeing Dina or somebody that looked like Dina that night, at the house, and also that they chose to ignore the part where they said that there was a lot of loud music and then a girl yelling for help. Her family didn't believe it, of course. They just couldn't believe that she would do that to herself. And then under those circumstances, maybe if she just hang herself, but tying her hands, tying her feet, all those things were just things that didn't add up. And I agree. So they went to the Dr. Phil's show where they explained that she wasn't suicidal, that they did get a few messages from her that day, and one of them had read, "It's a nightmare, and partly it's hard for me because I loved him like my own, but he's not, and I need to be strong for Jonah." So almost like she understood that this was a very bad accident and that she was suffering, but she understood how much more Jonah and Max's mom was suffering at the time. So it didn't seem like somebody who was suicidal. Now, the show with Dr. Phil starts now, where they're going to come back with proof and different things back and forth. Both families police, but Max's mother goes to the Dr. Phil show as well, and she explained that she consulted forensic pathologist, and her name is Judy Melenik, and that this expert told her that it was very likely that Rebecca was involved in what happened to Max, that it wasn't actually an accident, and I'll explain why she said that, or accused Rebecca of having something to do with it. Apparently, the expert said that they went into the biomechanics, the center of gravity for his height, and how high the railings were for the stairs, and how, the kind of power that he would need to go over the banister to actually fall down the stairs. Apparently, later on, the police said that he was riding his scooter and he came really, really fast, and he kind of kept going, and that's how he fell. Maybe he tripped over the ball while he was with that. Maybe he tripped over the dog while he was playing in his scooter, but that's what the police believed. This expert, however, said that was impossible because upstairs there was this very thick carpet, and it was impossible for a scooter to get to a very high speed, or at least the one that it needed to get to in order to, fall. I understand that they're experts in everything, but a fall, it's an accident. And yeah, it wouldn't explain that he was riding his, scooter so, in such a speed, but it could have been something different. I understand where she's coming from, though. She also points to a 7, and this is something, that it's a mark in his back that looked like a 7. That would indicate that somebody was pushing him against the rail. So the middle, it's one of the things inside, and then the top was kind of making a 7. And that maybe he was pushed down from there, and that's why he has that marking. According to the police, while he was falling, he actually grabbed into a light fixture. I think it was a chandelier, and he kind of bounced around before falling. Now, when they did the autopsy, they couldn't confirm that he had any kind of markings in his hands, and if he did in fact grab onto the chandelier, he should have had some kind of marks or something in his hands. So it almost feels like, for the expert, like somebody had to lift him over, because again, he's a little 6-year-old kid, and I think the railing was, or the banister was about 3 foot, and I think he was 3 something. So she was just going through all those details. So Rebecca's parents go back to the Dr. Phil's show, and this time they brought their lawyer that explained what they thought that happened to Rebecca. So it had nothing to do, they were not kind of getting back to what she was saying about Max, but just trying to find a lawyer who would explain what they think happened to her. Now, according to the lawyer, they know that she was in the shower. She was on her period, and they did find a couple of droppings of blood in the shower area that matched to hers. When she was in the shower, she was probably startled by a noise or something that she heard, and she grabbed a towel, she grabbed her phone, and then she went to the opposite side of the house. Again, this is a huge house, and when she gets there, something scares her. She drops the towel, and then she dropped her phone as well, and apparently that's when she gets attacked. And again, this is according to the lawyer of the family. She gets hit 4 times in the back of her head until she is unconscious. They tape her legs together. They goggle and pound her hands and feet. Whoever did this, of course. The family, since they had this theory, they decided to exhume the body. So basically dig her out and do another autopsy. And again, when they went back to the San Diego police, they said, well, she has 4 hits to the back of her head, and that shows that, she didn't do this to herself. The San Diego police decided that they were not going to investigate because they did find those things in the back of her head, but they thought that she might have hit the sides of the house while she was, trying to hang herself. Let's fast forward to 2017, where they found one of the knives that was in that room had blood in it. Now, I don't understand why this was something that was found in 2017. I kind of have a theory that I'll give at the end, but they did find out, or at least reveal that in 2017. Now, apparently she was sexually abused with this knife, or with the back of the knife. Now, moving forward to 2018, ABC, the channel, hired a private investigator to kind of reopen this investigation for them and try to find out different things that were not really dug back when this happened. Now, this investigator found quite a few things. Number one, the rope. It was almost impossible, and this is something that the police said in the press conference. They said that they didn't find any DNA in the rope on her, Rebecca, or anything like that. That all the DNA that they could find was Rebecca's. Now, my question, and this investigator's question is, how could that be when we know that Adam cut the rope, took her down, cut the rope, or removed the knots from the rope that she had in the back, and check for the how is that possible? Did he use gloves? Because otherwise they could have said, well, we found Rebecca's DNA and we found Adam's DNA because he was the one that actually, cut the rope or whatever he did to help her. That was a little bit interesting to find out that the police didn't reveal that information. Now, he also said that he did CPR on Rebecca while he was waiting, and you could hear the struggle in the 911 call and him apparently doing that, but there was no DNA on her mouth of him, or at least the police didn't disclose that. They said that they couldn't find any DNA from any other person but herself. Now, the knot that was tying Rebecca's hands and feet wasn't a simple knot, and that is something that the expert found out. He contacted an expert on knots and stuff like that, and he actually went to different people that was in the boat industry and people that were not, and he asked them to replicate this, and most people couldn't do it. It wasn't one of the easiest knots to do, and even though Rebecca did have a little bit of background in boating, of course she lives in an island, so she probably did a lot of these activities. This wasn't a very particular knot to maybe tie in a boat or something like that. This was a very intricate, kind of different kind of knot, so it wasn't the easy knot that people or police believed at the beginning and then told everyone about. Now, another thing that he did was kind of try to recreate what happened or how she ended up hanging herself that night, and apparently with the shirt gagging her, the tied hands, and the feet, it would have been really hard, if not impossible, to jump off her balcony, or the one that she did in order to kill herself. It was almost impossible. She was only 5'3". I think she was about 100 pounds. And, she could be very agile, but that doesn't mean that you can break the rules of, and be like Superwoman. It's almost impossible to do it. It would have been very, very hard for somebody as small as she was to kind of climb on top of the balcony area and jump to kill herself. It also shows in that investigation that the balcony was so small that somebody could have placed her there, lean her against the actual rail, and then kind of push her off in order to kill her or to get rid of she was trying to kill herself. So maybe, this could have been something that somebody did. The conclusion after this investigation is that he did not believe that she killed herself, but he did not have enough evidence to prove otherwise. Now, on April 4th, 2018, Rebecca's family proved that Rebecca was murdered, but this was on a civil court, not a criminal court. So they got $5 million in damages because Rebecca was sending them money and stuff like that. But they actually wanted to prove that, Adam was the one responsible for it, and they did. And I'm gonna go through why they did. In this civil court, apparently the jury found him responsible, Adam responsible for her death in this civil court because of a few things. Now, because of the investigation of APC, a lot of new evidence came to light, and that helped a lot. One of them, the knife being bloody, and it also the marking, like she was grabbing the knife herself. She was grabbing the knife in a way that she was kind of hiding it in the back to cut a rope and make herself free. That was something that was explained by an expert, and it made a lot of sense in a lot of the jury's, mind, and that kind of helped a lot. There is also, in that trial, or I don't know how to call it, but in that same court, they also expose a theory where they believe that Dina, Max's mom, Adam, and Nina, which is the twin sister of Tina, had something to do with what happened to her. Could it be that they, maybe Dina was upset and, she put together something like this even though her son was still alive? That was the idea for them. Of course, they could prove that neither Dina or Nina left the hospital. So if they in fact had something to do with, what happened to her, it could have been something like a mastermind kind of thing. But it wasn't something that could have been proved because they weren't there. The only one that was there was Adam. So he was the one that was found responsible for the murder. This was thanks to the expert testimonies and everything that came out after, that initial investigation. Now, the family wants Adam to pay for what he did. They understand that they need to move on, or move forward, I should say, after Rebecca left them. But they also understand that he needs to be punished if in fact was him that did this. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts. This is a very tricky case and again, everything here is alleged. He isn't, charged criminally for what happened, but I feel like this is a story that will continue to be open and that people will have to come back, because I feel like there's always new evidence coming out of this story. However, I understand both sides, the sides that say that the police didn't do a good job in the beginning, and the side that of the police as well. Suicide is something that happens more often than it should. They get to very, very, very horrible scenarios and, houses where people take their own lives. So I guess that it's very easy for them to assume that it could be that. But I also understand the family side, that because of all the evidence that they had, it almost felt like for the family, like the police wasn't really helping them, but maybe the police were trying to cover up something. Again, this is very powerful people, they have a lot of money. The pharmaceutical business, it's something that it has a lot of influence everywhere. And I don't want to say that, that is why Adam is not in jail today. But there is a lot of people that believe that he paid off the police, that he had a lot of influence resources and he had a lot of people behind him to actually help him get away with murder, that it would have been almost impossible not to have any traces of DNA from any other person but herself. Even if she took a shower, it would have to have some kind of DNA, or something from other people after being all day, and maybe after spending some time with her brother-in-law, and then all of a sudden the police is saying one thing, but it doesn't really add up, because when she was found, she was cut by her brother-in-law, and according to him, he did CPR. So how can you do CPR without touching the person? I see both sides. I see the side of the police having to see this gruesome things every day, and I also see the family side. If I was part of the family, I just wouldn't believe it for 1 minute. I don't think any woman wants to get naked in order to kill herself. Hanging, and again, she hung herself from a balcony that leads to a little patio in between the guest house and the main house. So it was outside for everyone to see. And then why would you tie your hands? Why would you gag your mouth? Why would you tie your feet? It doesn't make sense. If you're gonna kill yourself, you just grab the rope and you just do it. And then why would you make your life so hard by tying your feet, tying your hands, gagging yourself? It's almost like you're trying to murder yourself. Is that even possible? Is that something that it just doesn't make sense in my head? I don't want to say, he did it, or of course I don't know. I wasn't there. But it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder how there's so much evidence that point in one direction, and all of a sudden this was a suicide. 2 deaths in the same house within a week. It just can't be a coincidence unless you believe in the supernatural. Let me know what you think. I would love to know your thoughts on this. And if you heard about this story, or if there's something that you'd like to add, I would love to read it in the comments down below if you care to do that. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day and wonderful weekend. And I will see you